This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome, everyone. Hope you had a good holiday weekend. Very pleased today to be joined by our partners over at RingCentral, Steve Katz and Ken Blanc, who are going to be giving an overview of their unified communication as a service solution, RingCentral Office. And but before we get started, let me just introduce myself. My name's Sam Sansom. I'm one of the principals of USA Voice and Data. We're an independent technology advisor and broker, headquartered here in Chicago, and this is very much our bread and butter, advising customers on unified communication solutions, contact as a center solutions, networking, security, DR, you name it. We'll be going into that more later, but today's conversation is all about RingCentral and how their solution allows businesses to communicate and collaborate and perform, as it says, on any device, in any mode, and anywhere. Let's take a look at our agenda today. So first of all, we thought we want to really quickly touch on what is UCaaS, make sure everyone's thinking about the same thing when we talk about UCaaS. Then we're going to discuss, provide some insight into the UCaaS solution adoption and what are the drivers of that adoption. I'm going to quickly touch on who we are and what makes us the UCaaS experts before we then hand over to the RingCentral team, who are going to introduce their RingCentral Office solution and actually provide a full live demo of the solution and all its wonderful features and functions, etc. At the end, we'll be wrapping up with some key solution takeaways for you all and a review of how you get started evaluating your UCaaS solution options. So that's really the agenda today. As far as any questions are concerned, we'd really like this to be interactive, so please ask them as they arise as we click through slides and go through the demo. The more questions, the better. And obviously, if we don't get the opportunity to answer them during the webinar, we'd be happy to take a follow-up call afterwards and run through and get answers for you on anything more detailed that you want to see, or so on and so forth. So with that, let's start with what is UCaaS. So it's really a cloud-based delivery model providing a variety of communication and collaboration applications. So things like telephony, presence, meaning being able to see when your colleagues are on the phone, etc. So you don't have to waste your time picking up the phone only to get a busy signal. Messaging, I think we're all using text messaging more and more these days. Having that integrated into a single solution, obviously pretty helpful, particularly in concert with that presence capability and your telephony capability. Obviously, collaboration, kind of like we're doing today. I know I've worked with the Ring team on putting together these slides in this presentation this week, and having the ability to do that, to collaborate on those things has been really helpful for us. And obviously today we're using webinar and video conferencing capabilities. So let's talk about the adoption of UCaaS, which is Unified Communication as a Service, and CCaaS, which is Contact Center as a Service solutions. So what's been driving it? Well, first and foremost, you can see that big pile of old phones there. There's still an awful lot of aging communications infrastructure which needs to get replaced. And in concert with that, at the same sort of time, we basically had some more traditional forces disrupting the IT teams. They've had to support increasingly distributed workforce who have demanded a need for mobility. They have had to integrate phone capabilities with their workflows and their applications. I know internally at USA Voice and Data, we use Salesforce, so having a a phone system which can fully integrate with Salesforce is particularly important to us. And then obviously providing a personalized customer experience so individuals can actually set up how their calls are handled and how they communicate has been more and more important. And I think that we got a couple of slides later on. We'll talk. I think Steve is going to kind of be talking about the generational changes and how we like to communicate differently. But you know, that's certainly very important these days. And then all of a sudden, COVID-19 appears, and guess what? There's been this enormous immediate need to enable remote workers. So I'd imagine probably 90% of us on the call today are working from their home offices or wherever, and that's become the new norm. So obviously there's been a lot of businesses that we've been working with have kind of struggled. They just kind of struggled because they'd had a premise-based phone system and so on and so forth, and yet nobody was able to go into the office. Some of them have even been unable to forward their phone calls to their cell phones and so on and so forth. So COVID-19 has really turned things on its head as far as, hey, everybody's got to be able to work remotely all of a sudden. So that's been a huge in helping the adoption of these types of services. So really quickly, who are we? We're a leading technology advisor and broker. We help clients evaluate and purchase solutions from all these different categories here. Can somebody else put themselves on mute if you're not speaking? Thank you. Might have to mute everybody. So I'm going to just mute everyone here if I can. All right, well, we'll carry on here, see how it goes. So obviously a lot of what we do is around telco and cloud-based services, etc. So this is really probably 50% of our business today is helping move clients from premise and old IP phone systems into cloud-based solutions like RingCentral. We work with an awful lot of UCaaS and CCaaS players, and we have developed and work with partners who've developed proprietary information on all of these providers, which allows us to very quickly look at them side by side, evaluating who integrates with what, who uses what sort of hardware, what sort of platform these providers have built their solutions on, et cetera, et cetera. So whereas most businesses would potentially take weeks or even a month or so to evaluate different providers side by side, we can very quickly, based upon our clients' requirements, pull together a short list of providers and gather quotes from those providers and establish demos for our clients with those providers in a matter of days. So this is really, really helpful. And again, it is really become our meat and potatoes every day, where this is what we do. So we definitely have an awful lot of expertise, not only with UCaaS and CCaaS solutions, but also working with these different providers. And again, today I'm pleased to be joined by RingCentral, who, if you like, could be considered the 100-pound gorilla in the room as far as UCaaS is concerned. As we've seen, that adoption is going through the roof exponentially. And this data was from last year at the end of 2019. So Steve, maybe you can talk a little bit about what sort of growth you guys have seen since COVID-19 this year.
Yeah, so we did report first quarter 2020 numbers, and they were in line. I think it was 33% growth, and now we are at that 1 billion annual recurring revenue run rate. It'll be interesting to see what happens this quarter. They're being very cautious. We're seeing a lot of activity, a lot of growth, but there's also situations that you need to be aware of. Like if we sold maybe to a gym last year, that customer's having a tough time paying their bills. So I imagine that there'll be some counter to the growth with some of the contraction in some business, but overall the demand is huge, and we won't have a bad quarter here in Q2, but it may not reflect the 33% growth. They're being cautious on that. That's all I'll say.
I'm telling you, I'd be surprised if it's not 50%, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I guess the proof's in the pudding. Yeah. And obviously,
well,
you don't get this sort of growth, and you don't receive that sort of like #1 spot unless you're doing a lot right. And really, that's one of the things we want to like show today. What is RingCentral doing right, and why are they the ones that are winning this business, right? So recently, 2019, obviously they are considered the leader in the Magic Quadrant from Gartner. They've had that spot for many years now. I can't remember how many, but it's been as long as I remember. So and that really generates that obviously generates a lot of interest. Where when people are looking at UCaaS provider, they tend to want to focus in this sort of area here, right? I would question some of these abilities to execute and so on and so forth, but that's our personal experience there of dealing with different providers, etc. So with that, let me just hand over to Steve. Steve, you want to just introduce yourself and take it from here?
Sure. So my name's Steve Katz. I'm a regional partner manager based here in the Chicagoland area. I've been involved in the UCaaS industry for 5-6 years, and in telephony in general for over 20 years. I was here when we started transitioning from digital PBXs to IP, and then now I've seen this new generation, this new movement to the cloud for unified communications, as well as the contact center, which RingCentral has an offering there. But we're going to focus today primarily on the UC, the Unified Communications as a Service platform. Here we have a great map that just shows our global presence. We have 28 data centers around the world. So, whether you're global or not, the fact that you have a solution that can survive whatever geographic challenges may be occurring, like, hurricanes in New York City won't impact us because we'll fail over to a data center in Chicago or San Jose. And so all of this is something that we're able to do at our size that very few of our competitors can do. As Sam mentioned, we're the 100-pound gorilla. We might be the 800-pound gorilla in this smaller space, but the fact that we're growing that 33% year over year when we're the largest player is really a testament to that we're doing it right and that the solution is up and running. I've been with RingCentral for almost 2 years now. There's been no outages that I've experienced myself. We update the solution 4 times a year. We do 4 major releases. So in essence, you're getting a new PBX every quarter. And when we do that, there's no downtime. We don't bring down the system to do that. We'll do each of those data centers sequentially, and while one's being upgraded, you're still up and active on another data center. So Go ahead to the next slide, Sam. I wanted to point out that we are investing very heavily in the product. These numbers are from 2019. I'd like to see the 2020 numbers, which we'll probably get soon, but my guess is the amount of revenue or the amount of dollars that we spend on R&D is greater than the amount of revenue our nearest competitor produces in a year. So I talked about those 4 major releases. The solution was built from the ground up for cloud. It's purpose-built for this, and we are continually reinvesting in the solution for our customers.
And Steve, the actual it's all based on microservices, and it's built it's hosted within AWS data centers. Is that correct?
I don't believe it's AWS, but I'm going to leave that one to Ken.
Okay.
PSE.
Okay. Okay. Maybe.
I think we're in Equinix data centers. Ken, is that correct?
Yeah, our instances are on our own equipment, and we do host within the Equinix data center environment. So,
okay.
When you said like Chicago, Virginia, it's Ashburn, Virginia, and San Jose, California. Those 3 major data center sites, as well as across the world, are Equinix data center sites. However, we do have some of our platform also functioning and working into Amazon as well. But the PBX functionality instances are hosted within those data centers.
Sure. Okay. Cool.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that we have these slides here, Sam, and I don't think I told you this, but these slides we had before COVID-19. This is what we saw happening, and it's just obviously been accelerated with the pandemic. But the fact that employers, employees, and customers want to communicate in the manner that they want. We can't dictate to them. You know, I live in a household with 5 kids. I see the generational gap here. I'm a boomer. I like to pick up the phone and talk. I have multiple conversations with my kids explaining to them that the iPhones that they have can actually make phone calls, that you know, they don't have to text me from upstairs, and I shouldn't have to text them to come down for dinner, you know, those type of things. But the reality is that younger generation, that's their preferred mode of communication. And whether they're an employee of yours, you need to support that, or whether they're a customer, you need to support that. We're not going to get into the contact center as a service, but in general, just knowing that it's no longer called call center, it's contact center, because the modes and means that our customers want to reach us go far beyond just voice and a phone call. So, you know, we need to make these adjustments as employers for our employees, especially if we want to recruit them and keep them. You're seeing here some of these numbers, and once again, these are pre-pandemic. I'm sure these numbers are much higher now, but that, you know, job applicants are going to be looking for that flexibility to work from home. My wife works downtown Chicago. She takes the Metro train into Union Station. She is in no hurry to get in that environment right now, and fortunately, they have encouraged and allowed her to work from home, and she has the tools to be able to do that. So, you know, so it's not just competitive with getting customers, but it's competitive in terms of the job market. You need to provide these tools if you want to recruit these millennials and you know, have this talent stay with you. Go ahead and next.
Yeah, slide. I think it's interesting, this last one, the 26-minute average travel to work. You know, that doesn't seem very much, right? But when you talk about it in like lost productivity, so I'm just thinking like, you know, those, you know, that hour or whatever traveling back and forth for the office, for me, yeah, that's full productive work for me every day, right? So So when you multiply that by your entire headcount, it becomes pretty significant, right?
Yes, and I think it's the flexibility too, because right now I'd be more than happy to get in a car and travel 26 minutes to work, just to break up the monotony here. But that's the point is, different employees or different workers are going to have different requirements or different needs. Once the restrictions loosen up, my role with RingCentral is to be on the road visiting partners, but I still need to be productive. I need, I'm on my mobile app all the time while I'm traveling remotely. But these are just some more numbers again about the workforce preferences, how things are changing, and once again, I would say these numbers you can't double 61%, but are going to be much higher with what's going on, because this was all done before any pandemic. And then with this, I'm going to transition over to Ken, who's actually going to show some of the functionality that we're talking about. So it's not just slideware for you, but Ken is an SE with RingCentral, and I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself, Ken.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Hello, everybody. Ken Blanc. I'm also a tenured telecommunications professional. I've been in the industry since I graduated from college. I'm going to date myself here, back in 1985. However, I've been with RingCentral now for about 2.5 years, and I've been with the partner programs since March of this year. But I worked on the direct side, basically carried a solutions engineering sales bag and worked with our account executive teams with a lot of different customers, everywhere from, say, 50 users up to 500 user type licenses. So great to be here with you guys today. And in this slide, kind of what we're talking about, right, is just our unified communications platform. Any device, anywhere, anytime. So we support a mobile workforce. We can support multiple locations. And we also have team collaboration and messaging. And really what we've done is we've broken it simply into just messaging, phone, and video. We want to just really keep things clean and easy and simple for users to use. But the little wheel over here on the left-hand side, it's sort of our technology wheel for what we do in a unified platform. So not only voice calling, but we can support and do provide SMS and MMS texting to the applications, as well as support faxing. And it's really cool that not everybody does faxing today. It does come into certain situations. However, the capability to be able to send and receive a fax from your mobile device is actually kind of exciting, which you could do. Audio conferencing, every user gets a 1,000-person audio conference bridge. Now, Steve, Sam, I don't know if you guys know 1,000 people, but to be able to conference that many people on an audio conference bridge, it's included with the user license. That's a fantastic feature. Video conferencing, up to 100 participants on our standard license. Of course, we support screen sharing in there, and Steve had referred to our contact center options as well, which we're not going to cover today, but also have contact center, and then messaging and collaboration. So you can go ahead and either go to the next slide or relinquish screen share so that I can share my screen. Sam?
Yep, 1 second.
Yeah. All right, perfect.
Just find you in the long list here.
Yes,
there you are. You are, Ken.
Got a great audience today. A lot of people.
Yeah, excellent.
Absolutely.
All right, you should be getting it.
I do have it. Very nice. Popped right up there. And just making sure that you can see my screen. So what I thought I would do is just start off real quick with some of the other pieces of the licensing, because like we're talking about, worker environment, company environments and culture sometimes dictates, what devices an end user has at their availability for communication. And you'd be surprised how many people that we still talk to that want physical desk phones. And even working from home or working from anywhere, I've heard of people packing up a physical phone, a Polycom phone as an example, throwing it in their suitcase or in their briefcase and taking it where they go because they still like to use the physical phone. And I wanted you guys to know before we went into all the cool stuff on the phone side and the unified application and the mobile app that we still have physical phones. And the way users can provision this is they can have a physical phone without having a different license for their soft phone and a different license for their physical phone. It's all part of the call handling capability of the RingCentral Unified platform or the RingCentral Office platform. I just wanted you to see that we have a full complement of Cisco, Polycom, and recently, if you guys are Avaya or more centered around Avaya, we have brought on Avaya hardware as well. So we have the J179 and the J139 and the J169 right now from the Avaya family that you can bring on.
And I also see Yealink there, right?
Oh, yes, also Yealink as well. Yep, we've got Yealink in here too, and Cisco. And so great complement to the full service. So as a user, I went to the office before they shut us down for COVID-19. I like having my physical phone still. I use both. I use the soft phones. I also use physical phones. Maybe because I'm an SE and I like to use both different pieces. But culturally, a lot of companies, they still have users that just want a physical desk phone, and the system enables you to be able to do that. The other thing I was just going to show you real quick before we went over to it is just under pricing here, and this is all out on our publicly facing website. So you can pull down into here and you can see all the different features based on the license that you're looking at. So we have really 4 licenses in the RingCentral Office platform. We have an Essentials license over here, a Standard, a Premium, and an Ultimate. I will tell you that out of the hundreds of customers that I've talked to in 2.5 years, the majority of them are falling anywhere between Standard and Premium. And so I wanted you to know that this was out here so that you could see all the different individual high-level features and where the licensing differs, because that's really a big question that we do get quite a bit. So the system does support, like if you have Active Directory or you want to do single sign-on to Azure or something of that nature, we support single sign-on. We have Active Directory integration for provisioning of users. We can do hot desking. It's kind of crazy, but some people, and this may be something that we end up going to as we go back to working at the office, but yet we stay remote more, working from home. Maybe you go into the office to a shared work desk and you have a physical phone there and you log in with your user extension and your PIN, and all of your user credentials, your voicemail, your presence settings appear on that phone. And that's what hot desking can do for you. It's just an example of the use case there.
Yeah, Ken, I think
so anyway,
I think it's interesting that you've got like the conflict from people downsizing their office, and at the same time they want to provide everyone their personal space to work in. So it's going to be an interesting shakeout of like, are they really going to allow people to come into the office, or are they going to just like, hey, either you work in the office and you have your private space and your private phone so you don't have to touch things and spread germs and so on and so forth, or you work at home. Right. It might work completely the opposite direction from that open plan hot desking environment that you see today with lots of big consulting companies and so on and so.
Absolutely. In fact, we've just been told last week Steve can confirm this too, that like for us at RingCentral, we are not opening our offices back up until September at this time. So it's, yeah. But anyway, just, yeah, different use cases, Sam, for sure. But I wanted you guys to know that you could just go out to ringcentral.com, and we have a lot of really good information out here on our products and services, and just a great place to do some research on the features and functionality. All right, well, let's drop this open here and see if you guys can see this okay. I can see on my presenter screen that you should be able to see everything just fine. So I have a couple of applications up here in the window. On the left-hand side is our RingCentral app. This is the unified app where we have messaging, we have video, and we have phone capabilities. So up here on the little toolbar, you'll see on the upper left-hand corner, just messaging, video, and phone. So again, very sleek, very nice interface here. You can definitely adjust the size of it, move it around. Over here on the right-hand side, I use iTools as a screen mirroring tool, just so you can see interactions between both applications. This is my iPhone 10. We support both Android and iOS operating systems for mobile devices. So it could be a tablet. It can be, of course, a mobile phone, smartphone. And right up here is my app. Got the big R right here. So I'll just go ahead and click on that so we can pull both these up at the same time. And you can see here, I'm clicked on the phone on the toolbar right here in the very, very bottom is a toolbar for messaging, video, and phone, and my contacts. But I'm set on the phone on both of these. So right now you can see my call history. And this is great, right? Everything is already incorporated and tied together between both applications. And so let's focus really quickly just over here on the left-hand side on the big screen, and then we'll talk about some of the mobile functionality. So right here on the phone, there is a dial pad up here right by my really nice picture that I have up here. Now, I'm actually using a phone on my test account right now, so my presence currently shows available within the platform here. But you can see I've set my status here as working remotely. So if I wanted to just do a quick statusing of where I am or what I'm doing at the time, I can just do that really quickly right here. I can just change just a little quick messaging box right there for everybody to see. So when I click into the messaging piece, you'll see that a lot of us have messages set in there, and I'll show you that here in a couple minutes. We've got new actions here.
Can that presence of status, is that fully integrated with like your G Suite or your Office 365? So like if you've got a meeting set up that you're in, will it reflect that?
It will if you're on a phone call, but it doesn't for like a personal meeting. As an example, if you have it's a great question. Yeah. So a couple other things in here, just send a new message, create a team, send a text, send a fax, start a video call, invite somebody to RingCentral. So you can use this not only internally with your company, but you can invite external contacts. And I'll show you what we did with Sam to get this conference together real quick. But I wanted to show you the Dialpad too as well. So this is the built-in soft phone into here. Now I can make phone calls from different telephone numbers. This is a great feature if you're like in a sales team or you've got a toll-free number that you want to use as the main number when you make an outbound call. You can do that right within the interface here. So I have mine set just to my DID. So if I do make a phone call from here and I call out, this is the DID that will show when I make that call. And then when I make an inbound call, I have actually an iPad here. I'm going to just drop in a quick phone call into this user. And you'll see the call pop up, and it's going to ring both my mobile app and it's going to ring my soft phone here as well. So here comes the call. And you can see it ringing on my mobile right here too. So a couple things here. I can ignore the call. I've also got some options to forward it, or I could do a reply. So I could do an message reply back if I want to. Let's go ahead and just answer that call. I want to go ahead and put that on mute. So a couple really nice things that people like to have in a unified communications platform is to be able to move calls around, right? We don't want to be stuck to an endpoint. So I have a physical phone sitting here that was ringing, my mobile app was ringing, and my desktop cell phone, the unified app here, the RingCentral app popped up in here as well. You see this little bar right here on my mobile device? Switch call to this device. Call switch will allow me to move this call directly over to my mobile phone and switch it without dropping the call. So all I have to do is hit the switch button, and now the call is pulled over to my mobile phone. And I have all the functionality of call actions to transfer, to conference other people, to put the call on hold, to do things that I can do in the desktop cell phone or the unified application on the left-hand side. So if I click on call actions and I want to transfer this call to somebody else, I've got my whole corporate directory within here. I want to transfer this to Aaron. I can go ahead and hit Aaron. Ask first is going to be a warm transfer. Transfer now is a blind transfer. So you can do those within the mobile application.
And Ken,
now
you can use that.
Yeah.
You can use that search functionality to search by name or by telephone number, correct?
I haven't done it by telephone number, but let's look real quick here. Let's do a transfer. That's like I want to pull up Steve Katz. There's Steve right there. So let's try it with just 202. I don't know if you can do it with phone number, but let's try it.
Pretty sure you can.
Yep, it pulled Steve back up.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, right. And same thing over here on the soft phone itself within the unified application too. You can do the same type of searching. So let's pull the call back now. Let's just go ahead and say, hey. Oh, one other thing before I do that, I wanted to show you just from a call functionality is, and I won't do it, but I'll just show you the switch to carrier. Now, I've been on appointments in the middle of Wisconsin before, and Minnesota, and in Illinois, in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes your mobile data connection isn't the best, right? Depends on your mobile data service. So Switch now allows you to do a ring out to the mobile side of your personal phone so that you're on your carrier's mobile voice network instead of your carrier's data network. And then that way you can still maintain the phone call. You don't drop it. And you're probably going to have a little bit better voice connection that way than using your mobile data connection when you're in some of those remote areas. That's a really nice feature too. All right, I'm going to switch the call back over to here. So I'm just going to switch the call. We'll pull it back across. And now the call is back over onto the unified app over here. I can still mute, and I've got also my search function or my call actions built into here too, so I can transfer. So again, if I want to pull up Steve, I've got Mr. Katz right there. I can go ahead and pull this into here and go ahead and ask first, which is a warm transfer, blind transfer, or send it directly to Steve's voicemail. So again, ease of use, right? Making the phone simple. All right. I'm just going to hang that up right there. We'll close that down and minimize that. So a couple other things are nice in here too. You can get to your voicemail. Here's your faxes. So any of the faxes that you've sent or received from your specific DID for your user, you can see all of those within here. And then also text messaging. And one of the things that we've added into here too is the capability to do up to 10 people in a group text message. So that was something new. Like Steve said, we do 4 updates of feature functionality during the year. And so we're constantly innovating and making new changes to there. So this morning I was just playing around. I sent a text over to the personal side of my mobile phone. And then I also sent it to my personal or my corporate account here. And this was the interaction. So it's nice to be able to do those types of things. The other thing in here under call history, I can pull up all calls, and it's going to give me some other options in here too, where I can click into here. I've got really easy access. Matt and I got on the phone this morning. He wanted to know how an admin could access the custom answering rules through the mobile app. So he called me. I was busy. I called him back. But if I needed to message him, start a video call him, or just delete this message, I can do that right through the interface here. So again, very simple to see things. Missed calls here, so I can filter those out. And if I was doing any call recordings in the platform, because we do support on-demand and automatic call recording, they would show up in here for my extension as well. I just don't have any on my corporate account. My test account I do, but not here. All right, let's talk about messaging. So the beauty of this is there is unlimited storage and unlimited file size capability for this system. We do not charge you to put PowerPoints, Word docs, Excel spreadsheets. And you will see when I click this open into here, you're going to see what we did when we were planning the webinar for today, for this presentation. So Steve created a team, and this team had Steve, myself, and Sam. And Sam is a guest in this particular team. But you could see we started off by sharing some PowerPoints that we had. We had some conversations about what we were going to do. We've got the GoToMeeting information posted into here so that we could all get to the GoToMeeting information. We had a conference last night where we had a video conference where we did a screen share together. And then we ended up this morning with the final presentation that you guys are seeing today. And then we were talking about who was going to take on, what portion of the actual meeting. So this is a really good example. Look at that, Mr. Katz there, sending us great, obvious information. But you see the ability to collaborate and be able to stay connected, even when we're working from home or working from someplace else besides the office. And this little shelf over here makes it very easy for me to pin information. So as an example, if I want to pin something into here so I can get quick access to it, I can pin this right into there. Now I have quick access to this specific presentation. These are the files that we actually shared in here, so we can get to all these files directly from within here. And then if there was any notes in here that we created, because you can create notes in here, you can have notes. And so I will scroll down over here on the left-hand shelf side, and I will show you my personal side into here under Ken, me. And the reason I wanted to show you all the notes I have in here. So for the past 2.5 years, anytime I did a demo for an end user customer, I have those notes in here, and I can just pull those up instantly and pull them inside of my environment here and be able to access them. Makes it very simple to stay organized, also very simple to find things within here. A couple other things in here too, that is you can click on this. It's a quick access button so that you can go to areas that you've been to so you can get to them very quickly. And then also in the search, we've done some really interesting things with the search engine in here, some upgrades that have happened. So let's say I wanted to pull up Polycom. I can do a content search for Polycom in this conversation or through the whole system. And what I could do is I could look at groups or teams that are associated with Polycom. And I spelled that wrong, so that's probably why I'm having some fun with it. There we go. So I can look at a specific conversation. I can look at the whole system. I can look at specific people that have mentioned something about Polycom. And I can look at groups and teams. And one of the other interesting things in here too is the capability to do a more advanced search. So you can look at if you know who posted it, or if you know if it was a note or a message or a task that somebody had assigned you, you can search for it that way. And now you can also search by time. So we could go back for the year, We could filter it for just this month. We could look at just this week. In this case, I'm looking for anything that's associated with Polycom on the whole system. And now it allows me to be able to scroll through here. And if I want to just get into a conversation, I can come into here and say, oh, here's a conversation that I may be interested in looking. So I can just go directly down to that conversation, and I'm now in that conversation stream. And this, what this is here is a Ask an SE. So you can imagine I'm part of this team. There's 1,025 members, I believe, inside of this team. You can see right here. So there's 1,025 members. So anybody that posts in this, it sends a question basically into the SE team, and really other other people within the company that can help the organization answer a specific question. It's a great knowledge-based tool in that perspective. All right.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
just think this
question,
whole
Sam? Yeah.
collaboration thing is really somewhere where the RingCentral solution really differentiates itself from so many of its competitors. I know Steve and I just work with a private equity firm who basically they've invested in or have partial ownership of a number of their a number of portfolio companies, etc. And we were discussing how they manage communications with all those different companies and so on and so forth. And it was really ineffective for them because they were really just using emails and phones, and they would lose all of this ability to actually communicate more effectively and collaborate. So when they saw this webinar and the ease to invite someone into a team and then collaborate on files and so on and so forth, they were like, oh my God, right? And it's
Yeah.
it's really that, when we talk about perform, it's these sort of capabilities which are new that regular phone users aren't used to seeing integrated into a phone sort of solution, right? So this is something which is just absolutely key for moving businesses to more high performing businesses.
Absolutely. Yeah, Sam, exactly. I mean, this has really helped us maintain our continuity internally and also externally with our partner channel too, because, you and I and Steve being able to do that yesterday was paramount in us being able to organize what we needed to do for the meeting today. And that is the type of collaborative environment that this system allows you to be able to do. And, you still have your phone capabilities built into it, and you still have also the video piece of it as well. So here's my video piece built into here. Now it does show my personal schedule in here because I am connected into my Outlook, or you can do it under Gmail or Google. But it also allows you to instantly start meetings. You can schedule your meetings through here as well. And then you can also, of course, join meetings too. So if you have a meeting ID, you can do that within here. But let's just say, like yesterday, when we were in our team for putting this together, if we wanted to conference together, all we have to do is press this video conferencing button, and it launches the video call to everybody that's part of that team. And then also the same thing with the audio conference. And you'll see up here on the mobile side the same tools. So I could have done the same thing directly within here too. So I can pull this over into here, and I can pull up search into here and look for USA. Should be able to go into Teams. I'm in Contacts. Sorry, let me cancel that and go into Teams right here. So I can go here and go search and go USA voice right there. Pull that right up, and there you go. You already have Steve's picture in there. Everything's already built into there. If I need to attach something or share a photo or share a file or create a new note or create a task from my mobile application, the functionality is built directly into the mobile app as well. So it's a fully integrated solution, work from home, really work from anywhere.
Ken, I just want to do a quick time check because we've got like 8 minutes to
Yeah,
wrap up, etc. So
absolutely. I think we've covered. Yeah.
we got everything covered at sort of high level, or is there any other sort of particularly useful features that you want to draw to attention to?
I was just going to say, just at the very bottom here, as far as toolbar is concerned in the mobile application as well, that you also have your video embedded into here for single one-touch join for video as well on the mobile application. Of course, your phone and your Dialpad is built directly into here too. And again, the same functionality. I'm using my personal phone, but I have the RingCentral app, mobile app on my phone, and now I can make phone calls showing my business number, even though I'm on my personal phone. And I have my contact capability into here too. And then the more button here, it doesn't show on this one because I'm not part of the logged in here as an administrator for the phone system. But if I was, you can manage the phone system also through the mobile app as well. So it's a pretty cool feature to be able to do that from the mobile device. Mm-hmm. And Sam, that's pretty much it. We really hit a lot of the really good features.
Great.
Sam, Steve here. Just wanted to throw in, we didn't talk about it at all, but the analytics and reporting, which I think is going to be huge for employers as they let people work from home, to be able to know that they're actually using these tools, that they're in the meetings and calls. All that's available as well. And certainly if anybody's interested in seeing that type of detail, we can do that at individual basis with anyone who's interested. Show them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, we really focused on end user experience today versus admin experience or company reporting or anything like that. But obviously, yeah, RingCentral are leaders in providing all of this.
Absolutely. Sam, I gave you screen share back.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we are back. We are back here just to do the wrap-ups. So we've done our demo. Thanks so much, Ken. That's really great. So just a couple of slides left, guys. And really, the first is really, what are the key takeaways from today? Firstly, cloud UCaaS is the future. It's been proven by Nortel, Avaya going bankrupt. They were the big 100-pound gorillas in the equipment, premise-based equipment market. Obviously, Avaya is kind of like punching their way back out, but really all they've really done is continue to make handsets. They don't make phone systems anymore, and they've partnered with RingCentral for RingCentral to basically be the phone system solution provider, and they're just basically manufacturing handsets these days. Mitel, ShoreTel, two other huge providers. They've gobbled up no end of different hosted VoIP providers, and eventually they've all sort of fallen under the Mitel umbrella now. And Mitel have now developed their own sort of cloud-based UCaaS solution. So they're not really focused on selling phone systems anymore. And then Cisco, again, they bought BroadSoft, which is basically a UCaaS platform provider. So that's been their big move to stop really focusing on their old Cisco Spark premise-based phone systems and move into being a platform provider. Secondly, obviously, UCaaS adoption has reached mainstream and it is increasing exponentially, particularly after COVID. And then finally, just a word of warning. You really ought to pick your cloud UCaaS solution provider very carefully. There's so many out there with different capabilities, and that's where USA Voice and Data can help evaluate. We talked about some of the tools and the experience that we have, having helped hundreds of different companies making those decisions. There's definitely a right UCaaS provider for every single client, but you do need to pick carefully. And our focus is really evaluating the top providers for our clients and picking a winner based upon their specific business requirements. And again, each business may have a slightly different focus, whether it's a budget-based decision or whether it's a feature-based decision. Obviously, there are some more budget sort of solution providers out there, which might work perfectly well for some more simple businesses. Whereas, if you've got integrations and so on and so forth, and you want all the mobility and so on and so forth, then clearly folks like RingCentral and those in the Gartner Magic Quadrant are really going to be the folks that you probably ought to be focusing on. So how do you get started evaluating your UCaaS options? You can reach out to us. We have a UCaaS interactive quick assessment form, which can gather some basic information about your requirements and your budget and so on and so forth. And from that, we will then run your requirements through our matrices, etc., to very quickly pinpoint a handful of 2 or 3 providers which probably best fit your needs. And then we'll pull together pricing for you and set up demos for you with those different providers. And again, you can just reach out to one of our UCaaS experts. Here are our contact details here. And you guys will all be receiving a follow-up email after the event today, which will have a link to the recording where all of these details will be available. It will also be right there on our USA Voice and Data YouTube channel, and also on our website under USA Voice and Data Solution Demos videos. So again, thank you so much for your time today. Steve, Ken, thanks for an awesome job. It was great working with you pulling this together. We hope we've given the folks online some ideas of the power of collaboration and performance that can be realized with a RingCentral UCaaS solution.
Absolutely. Please, everyone stay safe and healthy.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah.